Here's one of the key reasons why so many people can't grow muscle, even if they're going into the gym 3, 4, 5 times a day. Chances are you're looking around at several different influencers, picking a load of different bits of advice that they're saying, and then you've just combined this hour-and-a-half long session. Don't have the time to do it. You go into the gym, maybe there's not a whole pile of intent or effort in that session, and effectively you're just spending 3, 4, 5 days a week wasting your own time. You don't need to do an hour-and-a-half in the gym every single day. In fact, for most of you, 40 or 50 minutes is going to be absolutely ideal. You just need to have an effective program that works. You need to stop faffing about on your phone, answering client messages or calls, or scrolling on Tinder if you're one of those. And you need to make sure you're actually training with intent. And if anyone else tells you different, they're telling you lies. For example, one of our clients that came on board with us at the start of the year, he was concerned about coming on because the last coach he had him doing 1 hour and 30-minute workouts 4 times a week. Now, this client has a lot of responsibility and pressure in his job and has a lot of long hours as well. He genuinely couldn't afford to go to the gym for an hour-and-a-half on a daily basis. But he thought that's what he needed to do. So in fairness to him, he went in and he did that. 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks went by trying to stick it out, but it just was not sustainable. And when he finally confronted his coach about it, his coach effectively said to him, you either do this or you don't want this bad enough. And this is something you hear all the time, and it's so annoying because you do want it bad enough, but your schedule might not allow you to spend nearly 2 hours in the gym. If anyone ever tells you that you need to be in the gym longer than an hour, do that to them, because you don't. You can get in and get out and do an effective workout in 40 minutes. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And if you are enjoying this content, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, because I plan on getting a lot more of these videos out. There's 3 key tips that I can give you if you want to be really serious about growing muscle in a short time frame. There's a high chance, if you're watching this, you need to get your sessions done in under 1 hour. So the 3 things that you want to be looking at is intent and focus. So cutting out any sort of distractions and getting the work done. Next thing is quality over quantity. Get rid of all the fluff sets and all the excess junk volume and focus on quality. And that leads me to my 3rd component, which is effort. You need to be taking every single set to a high level of effort. Stop going through the motions and put a good quality session in. So for my first exercise, I'm going to do some adductor work. And the reason why I like to do an isolation exercise to start the session off is mainly because I like to train my weaker parts of my legs, and right now that's a focus in on the adductors. And this can be quite a smart way to train. Like if you have a lagging body part that you want to bring along, whether that's lower body or upper body, train it first within your session, because that's where you're going to be least fatigued. You're just starting out the session, and you can go put a lot of focus into that movement to make sure that you are bringing along those lagging parts. So for me right now, it's my adductors. So I'm going to train that at the start so I can really put a good focus in on it and help to bring along that muscle group itself. And it won't impact you too much, especially if some people are thinking, but what about the compound movement, or are you not going to fatigue there? And you're not really going to, because it is an isolation exercise. So I'm only really training the adductors here. And if anything, it's probably going to help me when I actually go into my hack squat, which is going to be my main movement, because I'll be able to actually engage and activate those muscles a little bit so they're primed for going into that session itself. So we're going to go in, we're going to do 2 sets, 15 to 20 reps altogether, and then we'll go into the hack squat movement. So here's me just doing the adductor machine. Again, we want to just have a little bit of a pause as we come in and then slowly come out in a controlled manner. And that is pretty much it. So my next movement is going to be my hack squat. This is going to be probably the biggest lift in the session for me today. So I really want to make sure I come into this giving it 100% for the 2 sets that I have. So I'm doing 2 working sets of 6 to 10 reps. And there's a key difference between a working set and a warm-up set or a back-off set. So even though I have 2 working sets in here, I will do 2 warm-up sets just to make sure I'm priming myself correctly, so that when I do go into those working sets, I'm able to give 100%. There's good form, there's good intent, there's good effort in it as well. So I'll do, like I said, the 2 warm-up sets, and we go into those working sets. So a key thing with the hack squat, right? Because the hack squat is one of the best movements you can include in to grow your quads, but a lot of people will do it wrong. They'll essentially do half reps or quarter reps, and they're not going to get the full bang for its buck within this movement. When we're training and going through the hack squat, we really want to focus in on that lengthening range, so that lowering range, because that's going to be able to train the quad through its full range of motion. And that's where a lot of people miss the point, where they only do the half reps or quarter reps. So one thing that I really want you to focus on is, as you descend in a hack squat, make sure we've got our foot positioning correct so the heels aren't coming up, but we're really trying to focus on coming down nice and slow. So think of a tempo of 3 seconds in your head, where you're coming down 3, 2, 1. And within that range, you're trying to get down as low as you can, nearly get your hamstrings to hug your calves, for want of a better word, whilst keeping the heels firmly planted in on the platform. And that's going to be a key way for you to get the best out of this movement.
So if we look in on the movement itself, you can see I'm firmly planting the heels into the platform itself, and I'm lowering down in a controlled manner. There's no point in just absolutely sending it to the bottom and then struggling to get back up. You can notice here as well, I'm taking a deep breath into the tummy as I come down. And once I'm at the very bottom or the lowest point of the lift, I'll brace against my tummy nice and strong and breathe out. And that just really helps me to get back up from just being in that weakest point of the lift as per se. Again, notice that I'm taking this movement pretty much close to failure. You can see now I'm starting to slow down a little bit more. Even my knee is starting to cave in a small bit just there, as you can see. These are all kind of signs that I am now starting to really fatigue in this movement. So I push out one more time and I just about get it. And that is the set complete.
Okay, first working set done there. Our rep range was 6 to 10 reps. Managed to get 8 repetitions. And I had an RIR of probably about 1. And an RIR basically means reps in reserve. So if you take a look at my last set, ideally to be making sure we're training to a good level of effort, you want to have about 1 to 2 reps left in the tank, or an RIR of 1 to 2. And this is a really good way to judge if you gave a good level of effort into that set. Ask yourself that question: could I have gotten more than 2 reps? If the answer is yes, you need to either increase the weight load or aim for more reps. And that's why you can have those rep ranges in there as well. Because if I came at that saying, I just got 8 reps, but had an RIR of 3, I could keep the weight the same, but try push up for 9 or 10 reps. So that's a very good way to understand if you are training to a high level of effort or not. Other ways you can judge, I suppose, if you've done a good set or not, is assessing a few things. Like you can hear right now, I'm quite out of breath. That took a lot out of me. If I came out of that session or that set, having done the 8 repetitions and after 20 seconds I was fully recovered, it's probably a high chance that that set wasn't a particularly tough set as such, or a high level of effort within that set. Whereas you can clearly see, this is me nearly 2 minutes after the set, still pretty pooped after it. Like I made sure to give 100% effort within that set. So it's just a key consideration to think of. You can look at a few things like, how do I feel after the set itself? Am I recovering quite quickly or not? What did my last few reps look like? You know, was I starting to slow down a little bit? Was I starting to struggle? Was form starting to break down a little bit? Because believe it or not, that can be a good indication to show that you are pushing yourself quite a lot. So they're the sort of things you want to be looking at. And if you're going into this, especially if you are someone who's quite busy and you don't have a lot of time to be actually given 100%, or sorry, you don't have a lot of time to be in the gym for an hour and a half, you need to make sure that every single set you do is 100%, and that's a good way to engage and see if it was or not. So, little food for thought. So, next exercise that I'm going to go into is a hamstring variation. We've hit the adductors, we've hit our quads mainly through the hack squat, so we really want to bring in some hamstrings into this. And I like to do some leg curls, seated leg curls over lying leg curls. Both are fantastic movements. I just get a little bit more from the seated leg movement because I can bring the bar down on my quads, and I can just feel like I can lock in a little bit more to get a little bit more from the movement. Whereas when I'm doing a lying leg curl, which I'm referencing to right here, once I start to bring the weight load up a little bit, it gets to a point where the hips start to come into the movement and I start lifting my hips up, and that just takes away from the hamstrings a small bit. So if you do have a seated leg curl variation in your gym, I would preferably pick that over the lying leg curl. Both are really good options, but I would probably go for this over that just a little bit more. So key things to remember with this is the lock-in in itself, as I've just been talking over the last minute. We want to make sure there's going to be handlebars that you can just grab onto either side and lock into those. If there's not handlebars, like on this machine here, it's a Precor, I'm going to use the knee padding to just push myself in and try to keep my hips locked in as much as I can. So I'll go through a demo session now, or a demo set, just to show you to get the best out of this movement.
Remember, the biggest cues here are to dig the hands into that padding nice and firm and to avoid any sort of excess hip travel. So we really want to avoid the hips shooting up as we drag the heels into the bum. That is the other cue you do want to remember. Heels into the bum, like you're trying to drag that chewing gum off from the shoes, and then control it on the way back up, nice and slow.
Okay, so our next movement is going to be a 45-degree leg press. Like I was saying, we are going quite quad dominant today, so that's why we're going to bring in this movement. Usually there's another leg press that I use, but it's been used, so this is a key example of why we always need to adapt our sessions from time to time. People are going to be using the equipment that you want. You just have to learn to adapt. So we're going in with the Watson leg press. Not my favorite, but it will do for today's session, and we're going to go quite high reps on this. So I'm going to go one set of 15 to 20 reps, and then second set 20 to 25 reps, and that's what we're going to do. So let's go straight into it, and let me show you the session itself.
When you go into a 45-degree leg press, you really want to make sure you're focusing on keeping the heels and the toes firmly planted in on the platform itself. And another thing you want to do is just see myself grabbing the handlebars either side. Just grab them and make sure you're locking the hips in nice and tight into the seat as much as you can, just to avoid any sort of excess hip travel.
Okay, getting pretty tired now. We've done adductors, hack squat, leg curl, 45-degree leg press. We're going to finish off with 2 sets on the leg extension, and then just 2 sets on some calves as well. So you can see here, this is predominantly a quad focused day. My other leg day would be more of a hamstring focused day. And what I actually do, I'm quite smart in the split, is that I put my hamstrings in with my back day. So effectively a posterior day, for want of a better word. And this just allows me then to get all the main muscle groups that I'm currently training at the moment without dedicating 2 full leg days, because my priority really is upper body. Like, I'm a guy, it's always going to be upper body, but I still wanted to make sure I'm getting enough volume in throughout the week with my legs. So putting in a little bit of hamstring work alongside the back does that perfectly, and it makes the split well rounded. I'm hitting legs twice a week, making sure we're hitting hamstrings twice a week, hitting quads once a week, but getting a good amount of volume in on that session. So that is effectively how we're working it. We're going to go into the leg extension now. The key thing with the leg extension, very similarly to the leg curl, is that you want to be able to grab the handlebars with your hands and pull yourself into the seat. A lot of time you'll see people just trying to use a lot of force through their hips or through their legs to drive the padding up, and they're actually taken away from the quads. Like, this is an isolation movement for our quad muscles. So we want to make sure that all other areas of our body is just completely locked in, so that the only working muscle is the quadriceps, and we're hinging from the knee and pushing up like so. Whereas if you're using your hips to push up like that, you're taking away from the movement, okay? So that's a key consideration with your leg extensions. Lock yourself in. If that means you have to take away a bit of weight and take the ego away a small bit, that's what you have to do, okay? So let's run into it. I'll show you how it's done.
So remember, just some key cues here. Lock yourself in nice and tight, grabbing the handlebars either side. Drop the ego and focus on the form and control of this movement, and you really can't go too far wrong.
Legs are like jelly. If you watch that set, you will literally see my legs shaking. I'm like a girl after a very good session, you know. Might have to scratch that out of the video edit. Oh, I'm vexed. A key tip that I can give you is to record your sessions. It's so important. It's going to help you just grow so much quicker by recording your movements. And a key example of this is I literally just recorded my leg extension, and I thought it was a pretty good set, and it was a pretty good set, but when I look back on it, my tempo was a little bit fast. I was just allowing the weight to control me a little bit on the movement, on the lowering phase. And I could see that visibly when I recorded it. But at the time I thought this was one of the best sets I had all session. But when I look back on it, yes, it was good. There was a good level of intent in it, intensity and effort, but the tempo was a little bit fast. So I would just always recommend, just record yourself, get a tripod. Like, everyone has them in the gym now. There's about 3 other people in this gym using their tripods. Put it in a discreet corner, just be discreet, record your session, and if anyone like gives out about it, just say to them, I'm recording to see my form, or if you have a coach, you're sending it to your coach. It's just going to improve your lifts so much better and so much quicker than just going in and perceiving that you had done a good session, okay? So that is pretty much our leg day done and dusted. I just have some calf work to do now, so just some simple calf raises, fairly self-explanatory. We're driving up nice and strong and then lowering down on the lowering phase in a controlled manner. And that is the set done and dusted. Like I said, quite quad dominant. This should take you 40, max 50 minutes to do. You're in and out. But like I said, the key thing here that we're trying to remember is our focus and our intent in the actual session. Remove distractions, get in, get it done. Quality over quantity. So as you can see, pretty much in all my sets here, it was 2 sets, not 3, or not 4 or 5. And I do include 3 sets in sometimes, but when I'm caught for a time, 2 sets is just a go, because I can get in, I can do 2 good quality working sets, get them done and dusted. And the last thing then is just that effort and bringing the effort into every single exercise that you do. So remember earlier on in the video, I would have been talking about that 1 to 2 rep left in reserve. That's something you need to be thinking about every single session that you do. Every single set that you go into, ask yourself, was there more than 2 reps left in the tank? And if the answer is yes, there was, you probably need to push that next set, either from a rep range perspective or increase the weight load. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this. If anyone has any questions or want to make any comments, please put them below. And of course, if you find this useful, please subscribe to the account. Cheers, everyone.